All right, welcome here, everybody. Good to have you all on this webinar. Today's webinar is brought to you by Baxter Media and Pro Colombia Canada, and we're going to get started here. So welcome again. Good to have you all here. Our presenter today is Juan Sebastian Sanchez, tourism specialist for Pro Colombia in Canada. And I'm your host, Zephan McMillan, virtual events coordinator at Baxter Media. And today is Thursday, November 27th. Please stick around for a Q&A session with Juan at the end of the webinar. And if you have any questions, you can type them into the Q&A section of the public chat box, which is located to the right-hand side of your screen. Juan will also be announcing the prizes at the end of the webinar, and I believe we have a little competition, so stay tuned for that. Please remember, this is a live session, so your patience is appreciated during any technical difficulties that may arise. And the webinar will be recorded. So a copy of the recording will be sent to everyone who's registered and attended in about 24 hours. So you should receive it tomorrow around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. So yeah, glad to have everybody here again. And with that, I think I'm going to hand things over to Juan. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Hello and good afternoon for everyone. If there are some of you that maybe are from Montreal, bonjour for everyone. I'm gonna turn off my camera so that the internet could be better in terms of the connection. So thank you very much, Stefan. So good to see you all. Thank you for being here. This is our second webinar of the year. The first one was a couple of months ago, and it was about an overview of all Colombia and all the touristic offer that we have to show. For those who didn't have the opportunity to get it, I invite you all to grab maybe the record that got on Baxter Media, but also and to make an overview again, and we will be starting with a short overview of Colombia, and then be back for 12 itinerary days to Colombia that might help you for the programs or the packages that you might have to Colombia. First to know is some highlights about Colombia. So first to know is we're going to have 2 Magdalena River crosses to be launched in 2024. One of them with AMO Waterways, the other one with Metropolitan Touring. It will be both of them starting on Cartagena de Indias, which is one of the main destinations in the Greater Colombian Caribbean, one of the regions that we will be talking about later in this presentation. And the picture you're watching right now is one of the main towns that will be visited on this amazing trip, that is Mompox. That is an island, a colonial island that is like a couple of hours from Cartagena de Indias. Second time talking about the world's greatest places of 2022. Well, Bogota is there. That is the capital of Colombia and one of the most cosmopolitan cities that we have in Colombia. So we are really glad to watch this in this type of media. One of our main and most important chefs of Colombia, Leonor Espinosa, being part of the world's best female chef 2022. So this is something that we are also really proud and to say that the gastronomy is taking a very nice importance within the scene of tourism in Colombia. I'm now talking about the 53 best cities in the world in 2022, where Medellin took the third place. We will be talking about Medellin a little bit later in this presentation so that you get to know why Medellin was one of these amazing cities. Condé Nast Traveler, talking about the friendliest countries in the world. And guess what? Colombia in the second place on one of the friendliest countries in the world for the 2022 Reader's Choice Awards. So just like this, we will find a lot of news and a lot of new headlines that you will find out. So as I was telling you before, the idea for today is to have these tours a stop along the way. It would be a little difficult to sum up, but we're going to have the 4 reasons why Colombia and what is that overview about Colombia. Then we will be talking about 12 days in Colombia, something about the Q&A that Stefan was talking about before. And then we will have one of the best parts of the webinar for sure for you. That will be quiz and prizes. And for that thing, I will let you know that you have to be really, really attentive to all what I'll be talking about, because all the question will be something that we'll be talking about here in the presentation. First thing to know, and why is Colombia? Colombia is a golden corner of South America. It's a country of diversity, of biodiversity also. It's one of the most connected countries within South America after the pandemic. It has a privileged geographical location at the northest part of South America, with around 31 ecosystem, 365 days of tropical weather, 6 snow-capped mountains, 3 deserts, 36 moorlands, 3 mountain ranges, 2 oceans, and more than 3,800 kilometers of coastline. So it's a really, really biodiversity hotspot for the world, and its importance is beginning with this biodiversity, being the #1 country in birds species. And actually, we have just won recently this year the Global Big Day, which is one of the most important events in terms of bird watching worldwide. The #2 in plants and amphibians, the #3 in palms and reptiles, and the #4 in mammals. We don't have seasons in Colombia, but we do have 6 altitudinal zones that make us different type of weathers within the whole year, but we no seasons at all. So every day of Colombia will be nice to visit, because it's 365 days of tropical weather. And in the other hand, other important asset that we have to show up is its people, and it's our cultural diversity that, from my perspective, is the main link that connects us between Canada and Colombia. This diversity, this multicultural country that is almost like a melting pot of African origin, European origin, indigenous communities, and Colombian also itself. So all this cultural diversity, it is expressed on the music, and the music is something very important for Colombians. And after this presentation, I'm sure you have one of the best playlists that I can share to you with Colombian music, so that you can get the party on. So we have around 1,000 rhythms grouped on 157 genres and around 22 folkloric dances. In terms of World Heritage, we have 8 cultural and natural World Heritage sites in Colombia, 9 that are intangible cultural heritage destinations, such as, for example, San Basilio de Palenque, that was the first free African town in the Americas. This site has nearly completely preserved its cultural and linguistic legacy, and that is why they were declared as an intangible cultural heritage destinations for the world. So now I would like to give you a short video of what is about all these regions that we have in Colombia and what that you can find in those regions. Stefan? So today we wanted to take you on a journey across our 6 regions that concentrate the colors, the flavors, and the landscapes of Latin America, to the point of making you feel you have traveled across 6 different countries in one single trip. So let's begin this journey in the Eastern Colombian Andes. The Eastern Colombian Andes is a place of páramos and legendary valleys. Páramos that are a special ecosystem you can only find in the tropical highlands. Tradition, legends, and modernity, such as, for example, El Dorado. Metropolises and beautiful historical villages, such as Bogota, for example. Our first, for example, we have Bogota as a cosmopolitan city, land of cyclists and farmers, the biggest páramos, as I told you before, and also a destination for conferences and conventions. This is a place of opportunities, one of the main destinations in terms of Colombia. And it has the longest network of bike lanes in Latin America with about 550 kilometers all around the place. Some contrasts that you can find, such as, for example, some cosmopolitan cities such as Bogota, but in the other side as Honda, that are a heritage little town that we can find within the same region. Then we jump to the Western Andes, where we can find mountains of coffee and flowers, colorful villages, flowering valleys, and of course, the coffee cultural landscape. Coffee haciendas dive into Colombian coffee culture, not only a renowned exports good, but a very important part of our DNA. A part of the coffee hacienda experience, coffee production and preparation process, we can have other type of experience that you can find within the city. For example, bird watching in a climate, vegetation, fauna, rivers, valleys, canyons, and plateaus. And you will realize by the end of this presentation that there are amazing hotels such as El Poblado, Plaza Hotel, and some others that you can find within this destination inside of the Western Andes. Some nevados, such as the National Natural Park of El Ruiz, Nevado El Ruiz, and some other you will find within the same country. And also, for sure, classified as UNESCO World Heritage, some of them. The habitat of hundreds of bird species, with of the 14,000 species of birds in the world, almost 2,000 of them fly through the skies of Colombia. And 50% of the birds that inhabit the planet, that are of 1,954 resident species, that 82 were categorized as endemic. So in contrast, for example, the Cocora Valley at the left side, which is with its exuberant palm trees, is near a network of heritage villages that is called the Cocora Valley. Is one of the main places to go to this place. And in the other side, you have Medellin, which is a very cosmopolitan city, declared a couple of years ago, such as one of the most innovative destinations in the world. Now we move to the Colombian Massif. That is a place of ancestral origins, a mysterious region home to our most iconic archaeological sites. San Agustin, for example, the largest necropolis in the Americas. Tierra Adentro on the other side, for example, an underground tombs decorated with cave paintings. So we have all this type of contrast also here in this amazing region. The region of the Colombian Massif today remains to be the home to some of the indigenous communities of the country. In Silvia, for example, little town, and Sibondoy, flavors and customs are kept alive. The destination I was talking to you about, Tierra Adentro, it is located on the eastern side of the Central Cordillera. Constructions that go up to 9 meters deep. The park was created in 1945 and declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1995. Some contrast, San Agustin from the left side, a mysterious stone monuments that preserve our history. On the right side, one of the most amazing festivals in Colombia, known for the black and white carnival, for example, that is this one in Pasto. Now we move to Colombian Pacific, which is a place of flavors of forest and sea, a natural paradise, key place of biodiversity, birthplace of humpback whales, for example, pristine natural areas, and crossroads of Afro-Colombian culture. Witness one of the most marvelous natural phenomena in Colombia, that is all about the whale watching that take place from August to October. Also, the humpback whales migrate from the Antarctica to mate and give birth in warmer waters. Nuki, Utria, or Gorgona is one of the main places that you can get and to have this. There is like around a 2-hour boats from the main destination. It's also place of Afro heritage. It is one of the most visible cultural manifestations of the Pacific region. By geographic, Chocó and its islands are the home of, for example, a marine fauna, jaguars, toucans, endemic species, and host more than half of the world's diversity. Some contrast, for example, at the left side, we have the Malpelo Island, which is one of the most important biodiversity hotspots of the world. And it is the top of an underwater mountain range of 1,400 kilometers belonging to the Andes. And in the right side, Cali, which is the capital of salsa, and is part of the Valle del Cauca state, a cultural center of the country for cinema, salsa, as I told you before, and Afro-Colombian music. Now we move to the Colombian Amazon Orinoco to experience and feel the jungle's cold, sounds of frogs, owls, and monkeys, sights of nocturnal plants and glowing mushrooms. Encountered with one of the 13 indigenous communities, for example, that we have in the Amazon, visit their village, El Vergel or Mocagua, learn about their biocentrism and culture, and have the opportunity to make a cultural interchange with them. The most exotic gastronomy, for example, in the country, you can find it over here. So the Colombian Amazon is part of one of the most biodiverse areas and in the planet. And thanks to that richness, sharing the table here is an experience full of unknown flavors and customs. We have an estimated of 86 indigenous cultures in Colombia, where you can find most of them in this region, 26 indigenous communities, for example, with different linguistic families and with their culture preserved. In terms of contrast, we have the left side, Chiribiquete, which is one of the most amazing natural park in Colombia. It's a magical place protected for conservation and then declared as World Heritage Site by UNESCO. You can make overfly, for example, in this amazing park. And in the right side, you have Santander Park in Leticia. So the videos are shot because of the great flora and fauna and richness that you can find from the Amazon inside of this amazing park in this city. Now we move to the last region, that is the Greater Colombian Caribbean. That is much more than sun and sea. In this region is the home to the Tayrona National Park, where the mountain meets the sea. It's the home to Sierra Nevada Santa Marta, one of our peak small cane mountains, and also home to a great number of indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities. And of course, home to Cartagena de Indias, the UNESCO World Heritage Site that it has like a whole city still preserved inside of the city. Ports of Colombia, the main port of Colombia, which is here in Cartagena de Indias, in this area. Almost like the 85% of all the exports of Colombia goes through this way. In the land of the Cumbia and Vallenato, the third biggest coral reef in the world, but you can find it in San Andres and Providencia Island at the north side of the Greater Colombian Caribbean, and a destination that is preferred for honeymoons and incentive trips. Some of the experiences you can find, for example, the Carnival, the Barranquillas Carnival, which is the second most important in all South America after the Brazilian one, and it is part of the many cultural expressions declared by the UNESCO, and it is more than 100 years old of experiences. Some contrasts, as Mompox, known for its colonial artisan splendor and all this like very magical and romantic place, and in the right side, Barranquilla, the Golden Door, and place of great economic development, progress in infrastructure and tourism offers. Now, I would like to invite you to go to itinerary to Colombia. This is a 12 itinerary that you can make Colombia. This is not something that is mandatory or something like that. It's just more like a suggestion that we make from our perspective and for what we have known about Colombia. Feel free after this presentation to contact me so that I can put you in contact with DMCs, tour operators, so that you can arrange all this type of itineraries to Colombia, even if they're or specialized in a niche or a product or something that is more like general in terms of the regions that you have seen. Before to start with the itinerary, it is important for you to know that in terms of entry protocols to Colombia, we only need to present a complete vaccination scheme or a negative PCR test within all these hours. And the second, and no less important, is fill out the check me form, which is something that we have it on an app and also on a website, and it's really easy to fill on just a couple of info before you arrive to Colombia. The mask is mandatory only for the plane, but after that you will feel free to be without mask in any destination in Colombia. So to start with our itinerary, I would like to start first with the route. We're going to have like two examples of routes. The route one will be between the Eastern Colombian Andes and the Colombian Amazon Orinoco, and the second one will be between the Eastern Colombian Andes and the Greater Colombian Caribbean. The season is, in terms of seasons, as I told you before, we don't have seasons in Colombia, but we do have like rainy or dry season, or highest and busiest, or busiest or lowest seasons. So in terms of that, the dry season will be between December and March. The green one will be between April to November. The busiest will be between December 25 to January 5, and the rainiest will be October. It might be, as I'm telling you, a little bit changes in terms of natural phenomena such as El Niño and La Niña that moves a little bit the season in terms of one month to other. So starting with the route down, flying from exactly to Canada from Bogota, we do have flights with Air Canada and Avianca, around 14 frequencies weekly. And also we are going to start connections between December this year with Air Transat to Cartagena, and also from Montreal to Cartagena, Toronto, Cartagena, and Montreal, Cartagena with Air Transat. And we're going to have a charter with Sunwind with San Andres Island. So you arrive to Bogota, and then from Bogota we move to Yopal, then we move to Calanoa to start the whole trip. So first, starting Bogota. Bogota is a destination of more or less 11 million people population. It's a place to live the history, politics, and street art of La Candelaria historic district. It's an amazing spots such as Gold Museum, Botero Museum, National Museum are also ideas for private dinners and events for groups. And Bogota for food is very important for here to visit local markets with local chef, discover local street foods, restaurant hopping, and that are part also of the 50 best world restaurants, soak in the coffee culture, for example, from all this amazing city. Get, for example, insider access to Colombia's design scene, visiting workshops of artisans or ateliers of renowned artists. And finally, most important, some hotels that you can visit, for example, such as Four Seasons, W Bogota, Sofitel. Well, there are some others, but we can also support you and give you all the information in terms of the hotels you can be here in Bogota. Now we move to Yopal, which is an amazing place in terms of wildlife. This region is rich in wildlife, bird life, and culture. The local Llanero cowboys, the one that you're watching in the pictures, preserve their ancient cattle ranching traditions, such as barefoot riding, and their war clans were declared as intangible cultural heritage by UNESCO. Wildlife and bird watching, including deer, capybaras, howler monkeys, caimans, giant anteaters, pygmy anteaters, pumas, ocelots, and over 300 bird species, including the emblematic scarlet ibis. Nature walk, trike private flights, artisanal fishing, participate, for example, in conservation activities, riding, parranda llanera with live llanero music and its magical chants, and experience a magical tour in a bongo along a pipe submerged in a tropical jungle full of biodiversity and the song of the monkeys. Now we move to the Amazon region. That will take around like an hour flight from Yopal, which is the capital of this region, and then we go to the Amazon region to live something really amazing, to live the most impressive jungle in the world and feels its call. Meet the most profound region, night walks in the primary forest of the Calanoa Natural Reserve, guided by native experts who will take you to discover the night of the world that does not rest. The sounds, for example, of thousands of insects, sounds of frogs, owls, and monkeys, nocturnal plants, night blooming plants, and global mushrooms. Visit, for example, the villages to get closer to the daily life of its people, El Vergel, or, for example, Mocawa one, and walk through the Calanoa Natural Reserve, where you can observe landscapes of high jungle and ravens, birds, for example, monkeys, and possibly some mammals the adaptations of plants and insects, and learn about medical plants, legends, and myths from the indigenous visions of the forest. In the high water season, for example, you will be able to navigate inside of the flooded forest, a wonderful experience you can have within this amazing destination. And in some part of the region, you will also have the opportunity to make pink dolphin watching and obviously bird watching, as I told you before, one of the main attractions that we have within Colombia. Now we move to the route number 2, which is something about Bogota, Barichara, Cartagena, Baru Island, and Tayrona. It will be between the eastern Colombian Andes, which is the pink side that you are watching over there, and the greater Colombia Caribbean at the north side of the country. And we take starting again from Bogota, then Barichara, and finally in Cartagena and going to the islands. Bogota, as I told you before, it will be more or less the same type of experience that I told you before. We recommend to be making like 2 nights. So it will be like a 5 hours and a half flight from Canada to Bogota. Then from Bogota will be an hour flight to Bucaramanga, which is the capital of Santander. And from Santander to Barichara will be by car like 2 hours, 2 hours and a half by car. That is an amazing trip to go to get involved with the nature, with all these amazing landscapes you will find out, and to encounter with one of the most important canyons in the world, that is the Chicamocha Canyon, where you can find it over here. In Barichara is a destination of 2 nights. It's a colonial town of more or less 7,000 people. It's a private colonial villas and romantic sites. Over here, you might find some hotels, but our best suggestion is for you to get your clients on private villas, private houses where they can live by their own with local experts in terms of nature, adventure, yoga, wellness, and some other experiences. Trekking and rock climbing is something that is really well here in this area. Mountain biking, for example, helicopter expeditions, for example, to the 3rd biggest canyon that I told you before in the world, that is the Chicamocha Canyon. Visit ateliers, workshops, and some others. So some, for example, houses that you can find here that are amazing places to go: Casa El Presidente, Terra Barichara, Nube, Casayari, and some other places that you can visit here. Now we move to Cartagena. There will be an hour flight. In Cartagena de Indias, it's a colonial old city founded in 1533. It's a destination for history and culture, histories and people, local life and street art, fortifications and military strategy, architecture and design. Is one of the places where you can find all about the Gabos literature, which is Gabriel Garcia Marquez, one of our Nobel Prize writer. Here, for example, in terms of gastronomy, you can have the opportunity to visit to local market, private cooking classes, curated restaurant section, rum tastings, and cocktail workshops. It is also a place of sun and sand, with island hopping, surfing, diving, immersive experiences with purpose, such as, for example, going to this amazing mangrove with communities, with communities of local fishermen to get to know the artisanal fishing and all about the natural diversity that we have over here. Volunteerism is something that you can also make here in Cartagena with project suggestion based on client's interest. And some of the hotels that you can find over here that are also will be part of the prices, such as, for example, Cartagena Plaza, Sofitel Santa Clara, Casa San Agustin, Hyatt Regency Cartagena, or Hilton Cartagena. Now from Cartagena, we move to an island that is near to it, that you can go to this island even by bridge or by boat. It will take you no more than 45 minutes. And here is the Baru is a peninsula of more or less 45 minutes from Cartagena, as I told you before, by driving. Is part of and is near the Rosario Islands, that is an archipelago of about 30 Coraline Islands located in 1 hour by boat. Over here, you will make diving with purpose and explore one of the most preserved coral reefs in the world, relaxing and wellness, volunteering, and some other things that you might have over here within this amazing destination. Now we move to Tayrona. It will be 3 hours by car road, also with amazing landscape that you will be visiting around the trip. And now you will get to Santa Marta, which is the capital of Magdalena. the same name of the river that, as I told you at the beginning, that we'll have a cruise river. And then we go to one of the most amazing natural parks that we have. That is the Tayrona National Natural Park. In Tayrona, you will find a lot of nature, adventure, trekking, hiking, kayaking, and some other experiences within the indigenous communities. For example, you can have the opportunity to go one of the most amazing place, which is Ciudad Perdida, which is even 600 older than Machu Picchu and some other geological sites in Latin America. So for the first prize, we have a 2 nights in Cartagena, Sofitel Legend Santa Clara, which is one of the most amazing hotels that we have in the old city. It is part of the Virtuoso network. They are also part of some other luxury networks, one of the most important luxury hotels that we have in Colombia, and one of the oldest hotels also that we have in Cartagena de Indias. It was constructed or rebuilt in one of the most oldest colonial houses in the old city, and you will find it's one of the main ones here. So for those who are really attend to the presentation, the question is, what is the name of the region that is much more than sun and sand? So please, Stefan, help me with the first correct answer for that. I will give some time for them to answer.
So if you could just, if you think you might know the answer, share it in the chat. And
you please let me know, and so that I can.
Okay, we've got the first answer, and I think it goes to Nicole Hobbs with Greater Colombian Caribbean.
Let's see if that's it. There you go. Congratulations, Nicole. It is the Greater Colombian Caribbean, one of the most amazing regions that we have in Colombia, that is at the northern side of the country. Remember, Cartagena de Indias is located in this region, and this is the region also of the Tayrona National Natural Park and some other amazing places that we go. We say it's more than sun and sand because we do have some other experiences rich in culture, for example, with the indigenous community-based tourism, and some other places that we can have all this amazing experience within the same region. Now we go with the second prize. That is the Poblado Plaza Hotel. It's an amazing hotel that is located in Medellin, of hotel chain, a national hotel chain that called Poblado Plaza Hotels, and the price is for 2 nights, 3 days in superior room for 1 or 2 people, including breakfast as a buffet. So for this prize, the question is, which is the Colombian city named as the never-ending spring destination? Remember, we were talking about one of these regions that have an amazing places, that is the place of flowers, one of the main products that they export. Remember, that is one of the cities that was declared one of the most innovative destinations in the world. Do you have any answers?
And there it is. All right, the first correct answer was Gerardo with Medellin.
That's correct, Medellin. It's one of the most no worries. It's one of the most innovative destinations declared a couple of years ago. It's also the place where we can find an amazing landscapes of flowers and all about nature. And it's called, as I told you before, a never-ending spring destination. Now we will win another prize here also in Medellin of the Poblado Alejandría Hotel. That is also part of this amazing hotel national chain, which is part of the most important hotels of Colombia. And obviously this destination is going to be 2 nights, 3 days in a standard room for 1 or 2 people, including breakfast. So for this prize, the question is, what is the name of the region where you can find the best flowers in Colombia? What is the name of that region where, for example, Medellin is? Do we have any answers?
No answers yet. Maybe some hints, Juan.
Maybe some hints. Remember, we were talking about the regions that are part, one of the most important natural resources that we have within these big hills, right? That across all Colombia, and it's split in 3 There are two regions that have almost the same name. One of them is this one. We also share with resource with other countries such as Ecuador, for example. No, not yet.
No, not yet.
I'm gonna give you another one. It's near to next to the region of Bogota, which is called the Eastern Andes. Just tied to Eastern Andes. What will be the name of that? Nothing yet?
Nothing yet. No.
So, I mean, let's change the question to make it easier. So, can you, for example, name one of the experience you can have, for example, within Medellin? One experience you can make in Medellin. Come on. Or what other experience you can have, for example, what one of the most important products that we export from Colombia? What is it?
Flower festival.
Sorry?
Flower festival. Does
Yes,
that work?
that's all. Yeah, that works.
Okay, great. Nikki has won with Flower Festival.
Okay, just to remind you, this is the name of the region. It's Western Andes. Remember that we have the Eastern Andes, where we have the capital of the country, which is Bogota, and we have the Western Andes, where we have Medellin, and we have the coffee cultural landscape. And one of the most important products that we have, that is coffee. The Flower Festival is one of the festivals that we have in Medellin, and also one of the most amazing experiences that you can have within Colombia for sure. Now we go with the other prize, that is 2 nights in Cartagena's Hilton Hotel, one of the most iconic and amazing hotels that we have in the north. In the newest side of the city, really near to the old city, like around 10 minutes from by car to the old city. So to get this prize, the question is, what's the name of the destination that has a walled city declared as a World Heritage by the UNESCO? Remember this city that is in the greater Colombia Caribbean. What will be the name of that city?
All right, we have Cartagena, and
That's right. That's right. Cartagena de Indias is also known as the walled city and one of the most important destinations in Colombia in terms of tourism.
Great. So it looks like that's Torres Schaefer.
Sorry?
It looks like Torres Schaefer won. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right, but that's great.
Okay. So now we have 2 nights in Cartagena. Hyatt Regency Hotel, that is also one of the main hotels that we have in Cartagena, also in the same area where the Hilton Hotel is sit. It's called this area is called Boca Grande, which is part of the new part of Cartagena. It's around like 5 to 8 minutes from the old city by car, and also you can get a walk from this side to the old city. So the question to win this prize is, how many regions are in Colombia, and name one of them? Any answers? This is easy. How many regions do you think we have in Colombia? And you just have to name one of them. We already have named a lot of them here in the presentation.
All right, we've got first answer 6, Pacific Columbia.
That's right.
Dawn.
That's right. We have 6 regions in Colombia, and the Pacific is one of the main regions that we have in Colombia. Congratulations. Now we have 3 nights in Cartagena, in the Cartagena Plaza Hotel, which is one of the also main hotels in Cartagena. I have a typo error here, sorry. And so for this prize, you can, to win it, you have to answer this question. Colombia is the second most country in the world. So how it will be that phrase complete? I mean, we were talking about, there were 2 main assets in Colombia. One is the cultural diversity, and the other one is Colombia is the second most country in the world.
We've got a couple of almost there. They're almost there.
Remember we were talking cultural diversity, and the other is, remember?
We have nicest, best, populated, biodiverse, kind, friendliest, biodiverse.
Biodiverse. That's right. The second most biodiverse country in the world. So
Great. So
congratulations.
the first answer with biodiverse, just make sure I get this, is Charlene.
So congratulations, Charlene. So that will be all for today. Today, 50 million Colombians open their doors to welcome you. Feel free to give me any question you might have. After this, I will share this amazing presentation with you all. It was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much to Baxter Media. Thank you very much, Stefan, for all the support. And anything, as I'm telling you, if you need contact, if you need tour operators, DMCs, or suppliers such as hotels and whatever you might need, let me know. You will have my email. I will be contacting you all. And for those who won the prizes, I will put you in contact with the company that support these prizes so that you can arrange the trip for you to Colombia and welcome you here in Colombia. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Sorry, Stefan. I think I don't know. I have
go ahead. Yeah,
here.
Go ahead.
We have another prize.
Oh, great!
So for those who are still there, we still have a prize, which is one night for the Hotel Casa San Agustin, one of the most amazing hotels. Also, that is part of the luxury network of hotels in Colombia. That is also part of Virtuoso Network. And for that prize, the question is, what is the name of the region where we can find sacred rainforests and plains? Remember, it's one of these regions that is one of the biggest one that was pure green, sacred rainforests and plains. It's a region that we also share with other countries in the world, in South America. Anybody?
Yeah, so the first answer was Amazon.
That's right. The Amazon Orinoco region. That is right. Congratulations for the winner. As right now I will be finishing, so we invite you to further explore the topics that may interest you at our website, which is colombia.travel. So feel free to visit the website, get to know with all the information we have there for you. We will be also inviting you all. We're going to have next year, by the end of February, one of our main events, that is the Colombia Travel Mart, where you will have the opportunity to go to fun trips and to get to know with all the Colombian suppliers within DMCs, tour operators, wedding destinations, incentive companies, hotels, all about that. So feel free to contact me. I will be sending an invitation for you once I have your contacts. And thank you very much again for your time over here with this webinar.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much, Juan. Again, such a great presentation, super fun. And yeah, thanks everybody for being here. I think that wraps it up for our questions. And once again, Juan will be contacting the winners, the prize winners. Congratulations for all of those who won. Juan will be contacting you and putting you in touch with the company to set up your prize. Yes, the webinar is recorded, and so the replay of the webinar will be shared with everyone within about 24 hours as soon as it's available on our YouTube channel, and I'll be sending a link with a follow-up email. I'll also include a PDF version of the slides as well. And yeah, so a quick reminder to, if you aren't already, to subscribe to Baxter Media's publications at travelpress.com/subscribe. You'll see a link at the top of your chat that you can go to there and subscribe to all of our publications. So yeah, and don't forget to check out our LinkedIn page as well. It's a great way to hear about upcoming webinars. And I think Pro Colombia has a great LinkedIn page too. You can follow Juan there as well on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn. I see him a lot, which is great. And yeah, again, the webinar will be recorded. So thanks again so much for being here, everybody. We really appreciate it. And we hope to see you next time. So yeah, Juan, you're getting lots of thank yous in the chat here. So good to see.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.